Thanks, Ryan. Majestic Mount Hood has a front row seat in Portland as we fill the final spot in the Final Four with USC or UConn. Our blockbuster night continues with a double feature of All-Americans. The bright lights of LA shine on freshman sensation Juju Watkins. Her Trojans fight on with a championship within reach for the first time in 40 years. Paige Bueckers knows all about the spotlight, helping her Huskies navigate a rocky road to the Elite Eight on the brink of another championship chase. Welcome to the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Capital One. 3 teams are heading to Cleveland, one more ticket to punch tonight to join undefeated South Carolina, an NC State team that started the year unranked, and Caitlin Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes. Hi, everybody, and welcome inside Moda Center. I'm Beth Mowens along with Debbie Antonelli and Angel Gray, and our star-studded night continues here in Portland with our Xfinity reactive players of the game, Juju Watkins and Paige Bueckers.
Well, we are in for a real treat coming off that 41 points by Caitlin Clark. How about what we might see out of Juju Watkins? Here's a freshman All-American, can score all over the floor. 3-point range to the bucket, gets to the free throw line, incredible body control. They feature her often in their offense, and for UConn, it's Paige Bueckers, another All-American, shoots with range, scores off the bounce, can make plays for her teammates. She's the feature on that end of the floor for the UConn Huskies. These two can both fill it up.
The Xfinity most reliable players. And as you know, we had a problem with the three-point line on the court. Good news, though, Angel, it has been fixed.
Yes, the floor and crew worked through the night to make sure that they fixed the three-point line. That was approximately 9 inches short of the apex of the arc. We are back at regulation, so it's back to business. We're getting to this game. You called it a blockbuster. Let's break down a few of the stars. Paige Bueckers, the comeback kid, had to watch from the sidelines last season, averaging 27 points in postseason play. And Juju Watkins, the new kid on the block. Best show out of Hollywood this year, 8 points away from grabbing the D1 freshman scoring record. Let's see the stars shine tonight, ladies.
Huskies in blue, Trojans in Cardinal and gold as the #1 seed. And that final ticket to the Final Four about to be punched.
USC has experience and depth, and they have Juju All-American who can get a bucket in a late clock situation.
Kayla Padilla will launch the first shot of the night. Long rebound out to Mackenzie Forbes. They open up 0-2, but a third opportunity coming.
Watkins loves to go right. She's very right-handed. It's tough to keep her on the left side of the floor. Here she comes back to her right.
KK Arnold gets the defensive assignment and draws a charge on the first possession.
KK Arnold doing a really good job moving her feet. Did she establish? Obviously, the official thought she did.
The Capital One starting lineup for the Huskies. Get used to these faces. You'll see a lot of them. All 5 average over 30 minutes. They only use their bench for 13 total minutes in their Sweet 16 win over Duke.
What you go against with UConn is 40 minutes of discipline and execution, and you have to match that for 40 minutes.
The step through to the left side by Davis, and it's stripped by Nika Mule. There's your starting 5 for SC. They are a little deeper. They are a little bigger against essentially a 4-guard lineup for UConn.
Right, in UConn, because they primarily play 5, it's going to be really important for USC to establish the baseline, points in the paint, get their post play going on the inside, and challenge Aaliyah Edwards.
Watkins, mid-range pull-up off the mark. Another offensive rebound and a second chance here for Southern Cal. Debbie, very similar to our first game. Both these teams are at their best playing a fast tempo.
Yeah, and it's not just this vertical speed, it's the quarter court speed, just like that. 5 lifted above the free throw line, wide open lane, and UConn is an elite level cutting team.
Bueckers with the assist from Edwards. Aaliyah, the Canadian Olympian.
Trying to invert Juju Watkins to the block. And the more shots they can hit will open up the paint and allow them some driving lanes, particularly for Juju Watkins.
That was Mackenzie Forbes, one of 3 Ivy League transfers in the starting lineup for Southern Cal. The drive, the kick, and here comes Watkins. Out of Sierra Canyon High School, the top recruit coming out of high school last year. Marshall tried to tip it up and in.
You'll watch USC shadow Paige Beckers up the floor, try to make sure they keep 2 on her, and everyone plays their own player defensively, but half of your attention has to be on where Paige is.
Watkins on the switch. It's Arnold again. Juju drops it off inside, and a foul will get Rhea Marshall to the stripe. 39th season for Gino Auriemma with the 11 titles. And this is nothing new for Gino. How about a 28th regional final? The Huskies are 22-5, and Debbie, they have won this game 14 times in a row. Their last Elite 8 loss was in 2007 to LSU.
Most coaches will tell you this game is the hardest one, because this is the one that takes you to your dream, which is the Final Four. If you can navigate this for 40 minutes, it takes some pressure off you at the Final Four, quite frankly.
Here comes Beckers out of Hopkins, Minnesota. As a freshman, got UConn to the Final Four. As a sophomore, got UConn to the Final Four. Sat out last year with an injury and now trying to get them back for the 3rd time in her career.
The efficiency with which UConn plays with will be so critical for them, because they're not going to be able to crash the offensive glass like USC will.
Off the air ball, Connecticut will push.
KK Arnold, clearly the fastest player on the floor with the ball in her hands for UConn.
Mule tried to get it to Beckers. They were a little out of sorts. The Trojans come in under the direction of Lindsey Gottlieb in her 3rd season. They are back in the Elite 8 for the first time in 30 years. They are trying to get back to the Final Four for the first time in 38 years. After they won back-to-back championships in 1983 and 1984 with the likes of Cheryl Miller and Cynthia Cooper and the McGee twins.
See, Padilla has a set called from the bench, and that is a backdoor look trying to get the ball to Juju, but that was a really good defensive effort by Nika Mule not to let her cut backdoor. She knew that play was coming.
Both sides chilly to open up the game, shooting it under 30%. Mule, the all-time assist leader at UConn. That's saying something with all their great point guards. Edwards strong to the rim.
They get you playing side to side, accelerate through, make you jump to the ball, and then they get it inside to Leah Edwards, and she can finish on the inside in a one-on-one. Look how wide open the paint is.
Forbes calls for the screen, gets it, stops on a dime, and Edwards with the defensive rebound. Arnold, there's that burst. They're going to attack Padilla as much as they can tonight. Baylor used that to some success in their Sweet 16 matchup.
Well, UConn's not a heavy ball screen offense. It's more a pass and cut. I'd say it's like 80% pass and cut versus a ball screen offense. They might go in a late clock isolation.
That's Watkins' first bucket. She took over the game in the 4th quarter and got to the free throw line to help them advance.
This is the foot speed of KK Arnold right here. Crosses up Padilla in transition, does a great job of attacking the rim. And then Juju Watkins coming off that screen, gets to the elbow and sticks the 15-footer. Bun up, game on, Beth. I used to say that about Taurasi all the time.
She's got her own Twitter handle, the Taurasi bun. Maybe Juju's got one cooking on social media.
See, here's a clear out right here. Juju going right. Look at that body control.
Count it, and one. And a trip to the line. She goes there more than any player in the country. Was 12 for 13 in that 30-point performance against Baylor the other night.
It's a clear out. 4 players on the weak side. One-on-one with Mule. Bucket and one when we come back.
It's now time for Get More, brought to you by Geico. And the sweet finish, leaning into the defender to draw the foul there for Juju Watkins. An and one opportunity for her. And now just 3 points away from tying Tina Hutchinson for the record for scoring in a freshman season, dating back to 1984 at San Diego State. Let's send it over to Angel.
Ladies, Juju Watkins is just so crafty when getting to her spots on the floor, and it's what UConn spent a significant amount of time on. Defending and shoot around earlier, coach stated, contest the shot smartly, avoid the leg kick or the flail. With their lack of depth, that's something we've been keeping our eye on. Also added, fouls are worse than made shots.
Off the mark and a foul, trying to box out Edwards. You know, as we were watching shoot around with Angel today, Debbie, we noticed the body size is bigger on the Southern Cal side. We thought they'd be throwing a lot of different people at Edwards, holding her own here early on the glass in particular.
Well, they can go deeper into their bench. When they go guards on one end, posts on the other, they got 3 post players that they can utilize on the interior.
There is Edwards swooping in to eat some glass, her second board at that end. Mule will try for 3. Tipped around. Ashlyn Shade gets him another chance.
Paige got the last possession. They're going to isolate her on the elbow here. They go to double that elbow entry.
Back to Beckers looking for 3. Off the mark. Mule swooping and missed the gimme.
Juju Watkins was guarding Paige Beckers in that matchup. Got some help from Padilla.
Forbes counted off the window.
And that's that big frame that we're talking about, Beth. It's not the size or the length. It's the girth and the muscle of the front line players of USC. Right here, nice crossover. You got a smaller defender on you. It's a nice use of the window to knock it in and handle the contact. When you've got players that have that kind of size, it's hard to knock them off their line.
Lindsey Gottlieb calls her the coach on the court. And she has just drawn the 2nd foul on Ashlyn Shade. This is a real problem area for the Huskies. We've talked about how their starting 5 goes almost all the way. And Shade has to leave. Cadence Samuels, who did not play in the Sweet 16 game, will come on at 6 foot, a freshman out of Maryland.
Yeah, Cadence Samuels hasn't played since 7 minutes in the Jackson State game, so she hasn't played in the last couple of games. It's good to get her in early, though, because I think Coach Auriemma is going to need her as the game goes on.
It's an 8-0 run right now for USC to open up this lead, trying to push it into double digits. Forbes calls for it. She's really developed into their leader, playing with a lot of confidence and poise. Paige Beckers will counter, and she will go right at Padilla and draw the foul. That's a matchup they're keyed in on.
Well, you got to sprint back in transition, and you got to stop the ball. And when this matchup occurs right here, Paige Beckers is going, oh my goodness, I'm taking this to the hole without hesitation. A little bump in. Paige has the ability to elevate on her jump shot. She's stronger than she looks. She can handle some contact around the rim.
She's elevated her game in the postseason. Gino was telling us he wants her to be even more adventurous with her shot taking and shot making. Juju. Errant on the pass.
I mean, Juju doesn't need much space to go where she needs to go. She can make a play in a tight space.
Beckers off the cross and the dish as she drops it off for Edwards.
So the transition defense of USC not good in the last few possessions. KK Arnold scored, Paige Beckers scored, and now Aaliyah Edwards scores.
Forbes. On the drive, Kayla Williams, and she turns it over on the double dribble.
This is Beckers right here. You got to stop the basketball. And she does a nice job of crossing over in transition, reads the help. She sees the help come, and she just drops it off for an easy 2 for Edwards. It's a really well done play by Paige Beckers. And Edwards to finish an easy one.
The Big East Player of the Year and the Scholar Athlete of the Year, who Gino calls the best player in America. Her versatile talents on display.
Good job by Forbes to deny that backdoor cut. You want this shot to be taken by Samuels. If you can limit everyone else, 4 on the shot clock.
Beckers to the top of the key. And the long rebound out of bounds to SC. And the officials are going to get together here. The initial call was to... Oh, no, they're going to keep it here with Connecticut. Lindsey Gottlieb is wondering who touched it, as are we. Mule, backdoor, Beckers, wraps it, short, and a foul.
What a tremendous job of setting up that back door. I mean, it's all the misdirection, and the action on the weak side helps keep the weak side occupied. So watch this right here. That weak side, there's no one there to help. Everyone lifted or outside the three-point line, and Beckers does just a nice job of setting up that cut with a little old-fashioned V-cut, if you will. Take your player up the lane and then cut him back door.
Akinwafa with the foul. Paige, who, oh, by the way, at 6 foot, is playing the 4 spot. And there you see the jump. 8 more points per game now in the postseason. She had 24 the other night in the Sweet 16 win. Watkins, Mule there defensively.
Juju is 2 for 4 from the floor.
Spins back to the left and is forced to give it up. Forbes, Marshall mid-range, way off. Gonna stay here with 6 seconds on the clock.
Now, if Juju Watkins is going to inbound this basketball, she's going to step in and try to get it right back. So you need to make sure that you guard this inbounder.
Got to look for a shot. Watkins, I don't think she got it off. Did not wave off the basket, shot clock violation.
Tell you what, UConn's defense has done a pretty good job so far. I mean, they've held USC from getting into any sort of rhythm. They've limited Juju Watkins' touches. She's 2 for 4 from the floor, 0 for 1 outside the three-point line.
Edwards gets underneath, spins back to the other side and scores.
So now UConn comes with a ball screen on the naked side, and they X out on the backside, which means they switch on the backside on that screen. It's a good job by UConn to execute.
Forbes hits the jumper to end a 9-0 Husky run. And put Southern Cal back in front.
Got a 2 for 1 opportunity here.
Final minute of this first quarter. The winner to the Final Four and a trip to Cleveland. Date with the Iowa Hawkeyes in the national semifinals on Friday night. Offensive foul going to be called on Edwards.
That's a tough one for Aaliyah Edwards to pick up. And watch Forbes coming down and puts on the brakes. It's a beautiful pull-up jump shot. And then Aaliyah Edwards right here uses her footwork underneath the basket to spin back and score.
Shot clock is off here for USC. Juju looking for a touch.
Nika Mule playing her no catch.
Instead, it's going to be Forbes calling for the screen up top. Gets the switch. The drive, the block for Beckers. Paige Beckers bringing the D and swats it. USC with a 2-point advantage through the first 10 minutes of our Elite 8 showdown here in Portland. When we come back, Angel and Gino on the mic. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Welcome back to Portland. Moments ago, Angel caught up with UConn head coach Gino Auriemma.
Coach, starting on your defensive end, especially with Paige Beckers in that block towards the end of that first quarter, what have you liked most about how you've been disrupting their offense so far?
Well, it's not easy to disrupt their offense, but I think we've done a pretty good job of covering up, for each other. Obviously we're much smaller than they are. We're playing small. I like, 15 points, 17 points, whatever it is. I think we got to get better movement down the other end. We're kind of, if we can just generate movement to create more one-on-one opportunities for us, right now we're taking too long to get into our sets. So I think we got to clean that up.
Thanks, Coach.
Tonight's Need to Know brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. The entire season has been about survive and advance for Connecticut. They survived their worst start in 37 years, survived losing 5 players to injury, and here they are right where they always are, fighting for a spot in the Final Four. And really, Debbie, a team, if UConn can ever be under the radar, has been on the national scene with all the attention elsewhere. They're knocking on the door.
Well, there's no question the cornerstone of Coach Auriemma's success is discipline and execution. I mean, it's tough to match the 40 minutes, and you've got to bring 40 minutes because there will be no letdown. There will be no possession that is taken off. That is not their culture. And they share the ball at a very high clip. They're 4th in the nation in assists, and they are playing small, but they're tough. And they're going to battle every possession. Now, can you match that on this stage where he's been so successful?
Yeah, the big moment really happened on January 3rd. It's been a season of before Aubrey and after Aubrey. She was the last of the big injuries, and their trio of stars met with Gino, and basically it was choose how you want to respond to the adversity. They've been 22-2 since then. All of their losses this year, non-conference to teams that all made it to the Sweet 16.
All very athletic teams. NC State, South Carolina.
USC will keep it here. There you see they have more players in street clothes than they do in uniforms who can come into the game. It's been a crazy season at UConn.
What you want to do is try to run some stuff where you get Samuel switching on to Juju Watkins, just like that right there.
Padilla.
But then you got to recognize it and get her the basketball.
Nika Mule running with Arnold, the pull-up, and Nika Mule's got it.
Nika Mule doesn't look to score very often. She's certainly capable, but especially in transition, she has to be a threat.
Let's see if they look to get Juju a touch. It's about 7 minutes since her last shot attempt. Marshall the turn. I think it was a pass.
I think it was a pass.
Assist to Caitlin Davis.
We're going with a pass.
We'll give her that one.
We talked to Rhea Marshall yesterday. What would it look like on your stat line if you didn't score a point to help your team win? And she said things like that: pass, box out, screen, run the floor hard, defend in their switches, defend in their ball screen coverage.
A Los Angeles native so proud of not only the renaissance for this team, but how the city has really embraced them. Juju off the cross into traffic, double
That's definitely
coming.
a foul.
No whistle.
I mean, that's a foul. Lindsay Gottlieb can't believe it.
A lot of contact on that shot attempt. Here's Beckers stepping outside the line.
Whoa. Man,
They call it a 2, but they will review it at the next stoppage.
Beautiful. I mean, the exit cut from the basket out to the corner to get your feet organized.
Foul way out top going to be called on Arnold. Let's see if she got the feet outside the line.
Watch the sprint right here. It's a nice job of rubbing off Aaliyah Edwards. And you know what? This is the thing about Paige and about Juju. Both of them just play. You know, they go on, they make a play, they go to the next play.
Rarely a show of emotion. Wow, so no whistle on that last drive, but a whistle there on the hold.
Last two, right, on two-handsy, right? You gotta have freedom of movement.
And that's now 2 on Mule. So 2 of the starters with 2 fouls here in the first half for UConn. Really has no choice, though, but to keep her in the game. She played the full 40 the other night.
So now get the ball to Juju Watkins in that matchup right here. And there's a lot of contact on the ball.
Here she is. Beckers comes to help. They double. Make her give it up. Davis off the mark. Edwards able to tip it to Beckers. Arnold, nice change of direction, floats it up and in.
Transition game, good for UConn early. Look at the fight right now.
Blocking foul on Arnold. And now she's got 2.
Watch the KK Arnold doing a good job of attacking inside. And look how quickly USC gets the ball out of bounds. It goes the other way. It's been physical. Now the officials have made it clear here. You know, now the players have to adjust.
She does become the 3rd Husky with 2 fouls. Davis. Forbes. Short on the shot.
I'll tell you what, I don't think USC has gotten into any offensive rhythm yet. You have to give some of that credit to UConn.
Just 29% shooting and only 1 of 6 this quarter.
Good help by Padilla on that drive.
Samuels wide open, look, got it.
Now that would be what you call confidence.
7-0 run for the Huskies.
Mule passes up the triple to a wide open Samuels, the 6-foot freshman. Hadn't played in the last couple of games and sticks a triple here. Paige Beckers, the All-American, is scoring in a variety of ways. Watch how she sets up the backdoor cut. Look at the weak side. Nobody has a foot in the paint because UConn can shoot the 3. So it opens up the lane and she goes backdoor in transition. A matchup she knows she can take, and then just doing a great job of working off that screening action on the baseline to get herself outside the 3-point line, and then in transition again, the drop off inside to Edwards, impacting the stat sheet in multiple categories.
They changed that 2 to a 3 for Becker. She's into double digits. At this end of the floor, it's been 8 minutes since Juju last took a shot. During that stretch, a 19-5 UConn run, which she ends stepping out for 3. And Juju Watkins has just set the national freshman scoring record, passing Tina Hutchinson, and a record that has stood since 1984. Her next point, 900 for the year.
It's impressive what she's been able to do as a freshman. But she knew that she wanted to stay home. And she stayed home and committed to Lindsey Gottlieb on a season where they only won 12 games. Look at that foot fake to create a little separation. All you're trying to do is get the D to lean. And that allows her to get into the rhythm of her jumper, something that she's probably done a million times.
With Edwards to the line, one of the reasons for their success, you know, USC has won 15 of their last 16 games, including the Pac-12 tournament championship. They have not needed to rely on Juju as much. The others have really figured out how to play with her, and they have picked up their point production, even though we know Juju can go off for 30 if need be.
Well, Lindsey Gottlieb told us after they lost to Washington, which was an upset, the next day in practice, right? She shows up, Juju, and practices like a pro. They move on. They come together and they decide that this is who they want to be. They want to be a team that makes it to the tournament and wins. And then the next game, she puts 51 on Tara Vanderveer's Stanford team.
That was a USC record, more than any of their legends, handful of whom are in the Hall of Fame.
And Forbes got a piece of that. See how
Look
she
at
gets
that,
it.
3 blue jerseys around her, Debbie.
I mean, she draws a crowd. She gets the defender on her hip, up transition. Now she's got an isolation on one side of the floor.
Oh boy, that's number 3 on KK Arnold. And the first sign of foul problems for UConn. Still with 5 minutes to go here in the first half. 26-22, UConn on top. Juju Watkins, Paige Beckers, highlighting our star-studded night on the road to the Final Four. There are the numbers for Beckers and Watkins tonight on the heels of that Caitlin Clark extravaganza. 41 points in Iowa's win over LSU, knocking out the defending national champions. And moving on to face the winner of this one on Friday night. That'll be the late game, by the way. The opener will be undefeated South Carolina and the Cinderella NC State Wolfpack.
Because of foul trouble, Coach Auriemma has already made an adjustment. Now he's got Mule on Padilla.
On the switch, she draws Watkins. KK Arnold is out of the game with 3 fouls. They're down a starter. Watkins stays outside the line and hits it on Beckers.
And this is what we came here to see. Exactly that. We want to see that one-on-one matchup once in a while.
2 leading scorers are showing it. Both averaging over 27 points per game in the postseason, and Beckers with a dozen.
It's so obvious. If you're defending, both coaches are going to go to their All-Americans off the timeout. Anytime there's a situation, dead ball, both coaches are going to run and execute plays for their All-Americans.
Held ball going to stay here. Watkins almost made a miraculous play.
Look at this little back and forth, little rope-a-dope action, and then the stick from the top of the key. And then on the other side, Paige Beckers, a little bump to create some separation. Both so highly skilled.
One of the heirs and one of the heirs apparent in women's college basketball. Beckers has already announced she will return next year for another season. And Watkins next season will welcome the #1 recruiting class in the country to join her. Padilla, she'll launch.
So the big lineup on the floor for Gino Auriemma because he's got Ice Brady out there. And Paige Beckers again staying on that Juju Watkins matchup. Lindsey Gottlieb has multiple defenders that she can run at Paige Beckers as well.
Here's Ice Brady now making an appearance in the game for Connecticut. Beckers, deep 3, hits it.
Okay. Yes. I love offense.
Watkins. That won't go. Brady snags the rebound.
Both teams now have a rhythm about them, right? It's a little punch, counter punch. Neither team has had a transition basket in a while. USC has adjusted and taken that away.
Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Beckers looking for more. Doesn't get the roll there. It'll stay at this end.
Well, that's an action that certainly works. Paige off of weak side staggers. Watch this right here, a little dribble handoff. You go under, she got to pull the trigger on that one. Beautiful. I love it. The seams all lined up and the ball barely hits the rim.
Samuels will try for 3. Well, there's been so much attention elsewhere in the women's game, and deservedly so, but Beckers is a three-time All-American, has taken the Huskies to the Final Four a couple of times already in her career, and trying to make a splash here late in the season.
And with this big lineup, Coach Auriemma likes the Horn series.
Brady's trying to find her way. Edwards. Good help defense, and the block for Marshall.
Third best shot blocker in Southern Cal history.
Mule doesn't let her get to the right. Beckers comes over to help. Forbes, the flyby, short. They are 3 for 12 from downtown. Hey, the NCAA Women's Championship continues next weekend with the Final Four from Cleveland. The Final Four special Friday night at 6 Eastern, and then South Carolina, NC State will open up the night in the first matchup. Dawn Staley's crew looking strong, and the heavy favorites to win a third national championship.
Don't count out the Wolfpack. They have made an incredible run to get here, and the lefty Ice Brady knocks down a shot at the nail.
Boy, any bench scoring for Connecticut is house money. Marshall, nice find by Forbes off the bounce.
Didn't get organized in transition on the defensive end, UConn. This is where you wonder if fatigue could play a role, Beth, because USC has a chance right now with this lineup on the floor for UConn to really try to attack and catch up here at the half.
Marshall, and a foul in the final minute of this first half. Hey, on Wednesday, Jason Tatum and the Celtics will host the Western Conference leading Thunder at 7:30 Eastern. First game of our doubleheader. Then the Cavs take on KD and the Suns, trying to work their way out of the play-in tournament. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the app. Marshall knocks down the first. A proud paint patroller, Debbie. Knows her role and fills it well. She averages a double-double.
Well, she's been a great presence at the rim on both sides. She runs the floor hard. She's an excellent screener. According to Juju Watkins, her best screener.
Beckers curls, slings one up with the right hand.
Got a 2-for-1 chance right here if you attack quickly.
Watkins off the cross, the drive, and a foul.
She has hesitation, explosive, shifty moves. She's going right, and you're not going to stop her. You really got to bring two to the ball, and you got to make her go left. But I think, Beth, one of the best ways to try to guard her is just keep her on the right side and load your defense up. She wants to go right instead of trying to make her go left. In that situation, you just got to make her stop the ball.
Averages 22 shots per game, averages 8 free throw attempts per game. The second leading scorer in the country this year behind Caitlin Clark, and the leader of this dynamic freshman class around the country.
USC will get the ball back.
Unless the Huskies can offensive rebound.
And that's a foul for holding. Forbes is going to, they were both holding, but Forbes is going to get called for it.
That's her second. SC still actually has a couple fouls to give if need be. Forbes checks out. Taylor Bigby is in. Shot clock off here.
Going to go with 9 or 8 on the clock. Juju on Page.
Watkins denying Beckers the ball. Instead, they go inside to Edwards. Offensive foul.
See, I don't like that call at all. You have to be able to pivot. She did not get outside her body with her arms. Watch this right here. Turn, pivot. Did she push off? No. Not from that angle and not from ours either.
her second foul, and we close out the half all square. USC 6 unanswered to end the first half. 33 apiece. And let's get over to Angel with Paige Beckers.
Paige, coming into this game, you said one of the boxes that you had to check was playing with pace. How would you say that you've done that in the first half?
Done all right, always room for improvement. I think I got to do a better job of reading how they're guarding me off the ball, moving, coming off screens, setting screens, getting other people open. But yeah, we'll talk about it at halftime.
With a couple of your starters picking up multiple fouls, we saw Coach move to more of a bigger lineup. What did you like about that group?
Just rebounding. We can force them more into the paint, get Aaliyah some touches inside. Ice hit a nice jumper outside of the paint. So just trying to get the ball inside more and then get it out from there.
Thanks, Paige.
Thank you.
Beckers with 15, Juju Watkins with 13, the two leading scorers through this first half. 20 minutes to go for that final spot in the Final Four. All even, 33 apiece as we send it back to the studio. Ladies. Welcome back to the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. 3 teams are in. South Carolina going to Cleveland undefeated, looking for a 3rd national championship. NC State is back for the 2nd time in school history, trying to continue their Cinderella run. And of course, the Iowa Hawkeyes advancing for the 2nd year in a row. Caitlin Clark and company will be in the hunt for that program's 1st national championship. Who's going to join them? Will it be Paige Beckers and UConn? Or will it be the freshmen extending their season at Southern Cal, Juju Watkins? So here's a look at the bracket. We know the first game coming your way on Friday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN, will be South Carolina, NC State. And then the winner of this one will take on Iowa in the nightcap. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Beth Mowens, Debbie Antonelli, and Angel Gray, and the Stars have come out ready to play tonight as we check out Wendy's fueling the run.
So excited about what we've seen in the first half so far. Both All-Americans delivered. Watch the space that Juju Watkins gets to operate in. UConn in a little bit of a junk, sagging defense right here. Juju takes up the space and scores. And then watch this right here. She gets the one-on-one with Paige Beckers. She drives her back with a little rope-a-dope action, and then she sticks the triple on top of the floor. And then Paige does a great job of working without the ball. Comes off the screen, gets her feet organized in that deep corner, and buries a triple. Paige Beckers with 15, Juju Watkins with 13. Both have delivered in the first half.
How about tonight's game track, brought to you by Invesco QQQ. Neither side lighting it up from downtown. The rebounds are even. UConn 9 assists on 13 made buckets. Connecticut has won 14 consecutive region finals, dating back to 2007. Last year ended a streak of 14 straight trips to the Final Four when they bowed out in the Sweet 16 to Ohio State up in Seattle, and now they're trying to get back. And for Southern Cal, seeking their first trip to the Final Four in 38 years during the dynasty days of Linda Sharp.
4 of the 5 UConn starters have 2 or 3 fouls. Paige is the only one without a foul. And now they're going to call a foul on Juju Watkins.
That'll be the 2nd on Watkins.
I think for Southern Cal, everything here to start the 3rd quarter has to be aggressive. Off the bounce, getting in the paint, whether it's a penetrating pass, playing downhill, trying to get their transition game going. Really trying to attack UConn off the bounce.
USC on an 11-7 run since KK Arnold picked up her 3rd foul at just under 5 minutes in the first half. She is out there to start this second half for the Huskies again. They have survived 5 players out injured that would be regular rotation players or starters, and their bench is extremely short.
32 wins. Considering all of that you just said, is an incredible job of overcoming that adversity and finding a way.
Here's Watkins, number 12 in the Cardinal and Gold. Double team comes. Almost turned it over. Padilla to Davis, and Beckers has it.
Well, they're running two at Juju in the scoring area, right? I mean, as soon as she gets close to what would be considered her range, they will leave someone and try to bring two to the ball.
Also noteworthy here, Debbie, for Aaliyah Edwards, she is playing without her mask for the first time since breaking her nose in the Big East tournament. UConn back out in front. Watkins, Mule has spent a lot of time defensively on her, and now trying to deny her the ball back. And a foul going to be called, and if it's on Mule,
it is going to be.
That's her third.
Juju Watkins doing a good job trying to shake off Mule right here. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Come on. Right. Let's play.
Mule will stay on Juju.
They run her off the Iverson screen. She loves to go, come back to her right.
Runs into Beckers. Shot won't go. USC another chance. They run that double again at her.
Aaliyah Edwards cannot be aggressive in that, though. And Padilla is one of their better three-point shooters. When the ball skips over the top to the weak side, you got to be ready to catch and shoot.
She's 0 for tonight. Mule at the other end is not.
She doesn't take many, but she's a 40% three-point shooter, Nika Mule.
5 points, 3 assists for her. Just not happening from outside the line so far for SC.
You've got to work UConn on the defensive end. You got to go side to side. You can't just go one pass and a shot.
Oh, I think that was last touch by Beckers. This should be SC ball here.
Watch Mule get organized. It's a good push.
They do not get together to change the call, so it stays with UConn. Edwards, aggressive to the rim.
Rhea Marshall doesn't have any fouls. She has to be more aggressive in that play right there and not let Aaliyah Edwards bully her off the line, off the block.
Forbes able to knock down the three. That cuts into what had been UConn's largest lead, and now Edwards has put the mask back on. Number 3 in blue. Beckers off the bounce.
You got to get a good possession right here. You got to move the ball side to side.
Good backdoor cut and a foul, and that'll be on Beckers, and that will be her first. Underway here in this third quarter, and of course, you know, out here in Portland, bittersweet, right? This last call for Pac-12 basketball, as Southern Cal will be exiting to the Big Ten next year. They are the last team remaining after Oregon State got knocked out earlier in the weekend.
It was an incredible year for the Pac-12. They ended up with 5
really
teams in the Sweet 16. Lindsey Gottlieb's team wins the Pac-12 tournament title. Tara Vanderveer, as always, wins the regular season in the Pac-12.
What you got for us, Angel?
I think it's really cool that you guys are just talking about this being the last for the Pac-12. USC, the last team that is trying to see if they can get to the Final Four, but getting a text from Tara, she said in particular it felt amazing, and she was actually emotional all at once. She said the text was about the supporting one another for years. However, when she said, let's make one last great run as we go our separate ways, we had something special. She said that hit differently. Her team trying to do this for something bigger, in a sense, for the last thing for the Pac-12 is pretty special.
You see the Naismith Coach of the Year finalists, including Lindsey Gottlieb on that list. And Tara Vanderveer has carried the banner for Pac-12 basketball for decades.
Oh, yeah.
They will move to the ACC, along with Southern Cal, as you mentioned, going to the Big Ten, and Cal going to the ACC.
So many good coaching jobs around the country this year. Of course, Gino dealing with all the injuries here. I mean, Dawn Staley undefeated, #1, coast to coast with an entirely new starting 5 and better offensively than they were last year. Of course, Bluter handling that media circus that has followed Iowa around all year long, and the Caitlin Clark mania.
Well, Padilla gets a good look there to the elbow. Oh, they missed Aaliyah Edwards on that roll to the bucket. She was wide open.
Good box out for Caitlin Davis. That allows Forbes to go get it. Checked by Ashlyn Shade, who didn't play a whole lot in the first half with foul trouble.
That's a terrible possession. Out of control. Juju Watkins not getting a touch. You got to make Connecticut work on defense.
Just 29% shooting tonight for Southern Cal. Beckers. 17 for Page.
See, this one's going up, Beth. Juju Watkins is kind of like, why am I not getting some touches right here?
Forbes
unselfishly
open
passes.
for 3. 16 now for McKenzie. Two-man game. Edwards from Beckers. Bodies up and a foul. Boy, she's really having some issues with the mask here.
The balance of the pressure on UConn for their offense, meaning sometimes it's ball screen, early offense, quick hitters, they look to score. Sometimes it's their 5-out motion. Sometimes it's their chin and their Princeton action. So many different ways they can hurt you.
Now the UConn women trying to get to the Final Four to join their men. The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship begins Saturday at 6 Eastern on TBS. For more info, go to ncaa.com. Purdue, NC State, UConn, Alabama. Of course, both Wolfpack teams are already in the Final Four. It's never happened before, by the way, that 2 schools have sent both their men's and women's teams to Final Fours in the same season.
How about the Wolfpack and Kevin Keats? They've won 9 in a row. Had to win the ACC tournament to even get to the NCAA.
Full disclosure, Debbie's been wearing her diploma around all day from NC State. We're under 5 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Winner to face Iowa at the Final Four. Shade able to knock it down. And some distance for UConn, and a foul going to be called.
Shade, who did not score in the last game, Beth. This is a confident three-point shooter who was 50% from 3 going into the tournament. Beckers with a drive, turns the corner and gets inside, and then Shade with a triple. Her first points of the Elite 8.
Oh, back when Southern Cal was the center of the women's basketball universe, with Cheryl Miller winning a national championship as a freshman at SC, and then doing it again as a sophomore. Going back-to-back to win titles. And if they want to fight for another one, they're going to have to get something cooking here.
Yeah.
Been quiet. They're down 10 with 4:25 to go. Maybe they need to take the advice of another West Coaster here, Debbie. Juju, just like Melo at Syracuse, says Dame Lillard. You want to win, give her the ball, man. Melo leading the Orange to the national championship as a rookie.
Oh, she's going to get the ball.
2003.
She's going to get the ball right here.
Got to out of the timeout.
Oh, nice
Beckers
steal.
jumps the passing lane. Paige Beckers scoops it up and in. UConn by a dozen.
That's a scouting report defensive steal right there. What a great job to jump that pass.
7-0 run.
Let me say this about Cheryl Miller. She scored over 3,000 points, no three-point line, and she was my all-time, what I call best.
Juju.
We've had a few new ones come along here lately.
With a nice steal. Count it. And Beckers took a knock to the head at the other end.
Juju Watkins and Cheryl Miller both have that glide ability. There's a steal right here by Juju. She crosses over and handles the contact, but keeps her focus on the rim.
That is the 4th foul on KK Arnold. You want to have some fun? Here's Paige getting hit in the head. She seems to be okay. She's going to stay in. You want to have a fun conversation. Find some basketball fans from different generations. Who's your GOAT? Is it Cheryl or Annie from the 70s and 80s? Is it Taurasi, Maya, Stewie at UConn? How about Candace or Shamiqua Holsclaw from Tennessee?
You want to go down that. There's a lot of great players that we've had in the game. I always say the product is a narrative. The game's always been good. It's just more people are paying attention. And I like the switch right here. You got to change the rhythm of the game if you're Lindsey Gottlieb. And one way to do that is to change your defense. Picking up full court might stimulate their offense. There's a turnover. So what you're trying to do is not just get a steal there, but speed up UConn a little bit and speed up the game so you can get more possessions.
This is where they got to get something going. They're shooting just 31% for the game so far. Watkins has 3 points here in the 3rd quarter.
And everyone on the floor has multiple fouls for UConn, including Paige Beckers, who's got 2 guarding Juju Watkins. Look, she's pushing her into the screen.
Behind the back and blocked out of bounds by Brady. 11 on the shot clock. Juju so far 5 of 13 in the game. She's hit a couple triples and wants a foul that she doesn't get there.
Oh, that's on Nika Mule. Uh-oh.
That's 4 on Mule and Arnold. So,
you know,
2 starters in big trouble.
That's not a smart foul. And Coach Oriema is being patient right now, but Nika Mule has to be on the floor. You can't take a risk like that. Just play good contained defense.
Forbes to the line. They have only had 5 players foul out all season. That has not been an issue. It might be tonight. 18 now for Forbes, who told us she transferred from Harvard for her grad season out of Folsom, California, just to be able to play in big games like this.
Big lineup on the floor for UConn. That's a tough shot. Here's an opportunity.
Juju pulls up for 3. And this may be one of those fatigue, let's get everybody to catch their breath kind of timeout for Gino to regroup with the fouls starting to mount. 2:30 to go here in the 3rd. 52-45, Connecticut in front for that final spot in the Final Four.
Connecticut brings the title back to Stores in 2013. It's another perfect ending for UConn. UConn has done it again for the 10th time.
The national championship goes to Connecticut for the 4th year in a row as the dynasty fulfills its destiny. The famous UConn four-peat amongst their 11 national championships. They're trying to get to the Final Four for the 23rd time, and Gino has the most tournament wins in history. And Angel Gray has some more for us.
I think it's very intriguing how Paige Beckers described to us that they are a team that doesn't necessarily feel like the underdog coming into this game. She said even with us having so many players down due to injury, they feel like if you have 4 players that are available with that UConn across your chest, you are still capable of winning. Winning is what they are supposed to do. If those people show up, that's what they're supposed to do. She also added 2 months ago, no one thought they would be in this position. That is fueling them, and she is leading them.
Yep, and they have the advantage right now. Debbie, for USC to get back into this, you know, Gottlieb talked about acting like the upstart and not the #1 seed. Yeah, they need a little more upstart right now. They're struggling on the offensive end. Becker's weaving her way into the lane. Short.
Whenever UConn has the two bigs in, they like to go to the horn series, and they've struggled in scoring offensively. And defensively, they've been able to play because with the big lineup, because USC hasn't punished them on the interior. Everything's on the top of the floor right now for Southern Cal. Nothing is going inside the UConn defense.
It's been all Watkins and Forbes for them scoring. They were the third best combo in college basketball during the regular season, behind Clark and Stokey at Iowa and Kitley and Amor at Virginia Tech.
Trying to run something for Juju off the ball. This is for Forbes for three. That was hard off the back iron.
Beckers will take her time. Final minute of this third quarter. Edwards backing in. Watkins. Contact, but no whistle. On the run. The three in transition is good from Bigby.
A much better choice tonight by Bigby in transition.
Collision at midcourt. An 8-0 run right here for USC after they trailed by 12.
I mean, look at the trust factor right here by Juju Watkins. Bigby in transition, gets organized. It's a good choice.
Watkins will depart here with just 38 seconds left in the quarter, and so will Forbes, who sits with 3 fouls. There you see Forbes and Watkins carrying a heavy load tonight.
And you can rest Juju Watkins on what would be a defensive possession here for Lindsey Gottlieb. You got to jump to the ball right now. You got to communicate all cuts and try to keep UConn in front.
Beckers comes to get it. Bigby on her. Mule playing with those 4 fouls. Finds Brady in the corner for 3.
Ice Brady for 3. She's a 23% three-point shooter.
Her 6th of the season. Padilla finds the handle and hits it to beat the buzzer. Her first basket of the night, and it's a big one. An 11-3 USC run to get back in it. Down 4, heading to the 4th. 10 minutes to go. Nothing better than a buzzer beater to kick us into the 4th quarter. Her first basket of the night. Drills it. And we'll hear from Lindsey Gottlieb when we come back. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Welcome back to Portland, and let's send it over to Angel with Lindsey Gottlieb.
Coach, you said offensively the keys for you guys was playing connected. You have now 7 assists, but what did you like about your floor towards the end of that quarter that you lacked in the first half?
Our defense got better. I mean, obviously we're going to be better for getting stops, running in transition. They're doing a good job flooding the paint, so we got to shoot pull-ups, spray it out, or dump it down, right? We got to read what the defense is doing, but I think it all starts with our defense.
Final 4 on the line. Just some keys to close.
I mean, you got to lay it all out there, obviously, but I think for us to get stop after stop so we can play in transition is key. I think we got to get some offensive rebounds when we're missing and decide, do we have a good look in transition, or is it set something up?
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Here's tonight's Star Stories brought to you by Honda in a 4-point game into the 4th quarter. The numbers for Beckers and Watkins. And remember, in a similar situation in the Sweet 16, Juju Watkins took charge in the 4th quarter the other night. Hit 9 of 10 free throws to close out the game for Southern Cal.
When they go ISO and they get her the ball in space, she is really good off the bounce with the mounting foul trouble that UConn has. But the ball can't get sticky for Southern Cal. They got to move it. And if they can move it, then they can have a better opportunity to get to the offensive glass, and that will help keep UConn out of transition.
And of course, for Paige Becker, sat out with the injury last year. And all through her rehab, was pushing herself to get back to this stage, and she gets the steal, guarding Watkins, and takes off the other way. Juju, good hustle to get back to bother.
I mean, Becker's anticipation on the defensive end is outstanding. That's twice off dead ball situations, off timeouts, that she has jumped the passing lane.
No KK Arnold to start this fourth quarter with 4 fouls for Connecticut. Mule is playing with 4 fouls for UConn. Edwards gets to the baseline, lay it in, and one.
Rhea Marshall late on help. USC gives up the baseline. It's a great take by Edwards. She gets by Davis. And that is a aggressive play by Marshall, but you got to get there earlier. That's her second.
Aaliyah Edwards, who tonight passed the 1,000 rebound threshold, so 1,000 points, 1,000 boards in her career. She's already declared for the WNBA, where she will be a high draft choice.
UConn playing zone. Fatigue and to protect from foul trouble.
The lob to Watkins, gets behind the zone, count it. 18 for Juju, and another trip to the line. Will this start a parade of free throws for her?
This is just a nice set play. Good screening on the back of the zone right there. USC looked like they were ready for the zone. It's very well executed with Lindsay Gottlieb has her offense in front of her bench.
Coming off the 30-point performance against Baylor, the second best for a USC Trojan in NCAA tournament history, behind Paula McGee. Edwards off the bounce, dumps it off for Brady, fouled. Good interior passing.
I mean, really late on the weak side, rotating a couple of times, and UConn has made them pay. You got to have your engine revved up on the weak side. Like, you got to be ready to make a play.
Ice Brady with 5 points, the redshirt freshman out of San Diego, who sat out last year with a knee injury. She was a top 5 recruit when she arrived. And with all the injuries this season, big minutes tonight and a big moment for her. Huskies have won 14 consecutive region finals dating back to 2007. Pull up, transition 3.
That's a really quick trigger. Now, I know Mackenzie Forbes hit one of those the other night, and we asked her about it, and she said that she takes those shots a lot in games, but I thought that was too quick.
I think they want to try and get a touch for Juju every time down the floor now.
Move the ball and move the defense.
Shade off the ball fake. Juju gonna take it herself, gets to the left side to lay it in.
I mean, it is a glide. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous in transition. How she moves.
21 now for Juju. Under 8 to play for the Final Four. Off the bounce to the left side, stripped. Second time up, no good. And here comes SC. Watkins off the cross. Forbes to tie it up.
A much better transition triple. A better choice by the Trojans. An 8-1 run by Southern Cal. Juju to the rim. And Forbes with a spot up. We're all tied up at 59 here in the fourth with a trip to the Final Four on the line.
Oh, hopefully we're laying out a lot, Scott, in these final 7+ minutes.
Yeah, Scott, this is something in here. It's quite an experience. The fans are back in it.
Brady steps away, short. Chance for SC to grab the lead. Here comes Juju.
Coach Auriemma has managed foul trouble so well in this game. Now they're going back to their man-to-man. And that's a block on Juju.
Seven for 18 tonight from the floor. Beckers, look at Gino's going to shorten up the game here.
This is where he orchestrates who he wants, where he wants with his offense in front. This is really going to be something to watch. We asked him about it yesterday. How much film do you want to get your players in the right spot? He said a lot.
Mule drops it off for Brady. He gives them concepts, and then anytime you sit into one of his shoot-arounds, he gives them different reads that they can use.
He doesn't wear a whistle. You can barely hear his voice.
And lets them read and react. Padilla way short. UConn ball with a 2-point lead.
So Paige Beckers that time face guarding Juju Watkins on the weak side of the floor. And there are times I'll say that Juju steps away, moves away from the action, tries to, I think sometimes rest, but also give her teammates a chance to operate with some more space.
She's got 21. Beckers has 19. Winner gets Iowa at the Final Four. Nice fake. Edwards, window.
Marshall doesn't even challenge that off the penetration. She's got 2 fouls. That's where she needs to be aggressive.
19 points for her. Watkins wants it back, gets it back, working on Beckers. Mid-range, short. Marshall, and a foul on Ice Brady.
That's the aggressive play that I'm looking for out of Rhea Marshall. Watch Aaliyah Edwards right here. Good pump fake, and then Marshall backs off. You got 2 fouls. You got a challenge right there. Either take a charge or really try to step up and block that shot. You had time to step up.
Edwards trying to extend her UConn career one more weekend. Huskies with the advantage in the paint, despite the fact that they play quite a bit with 4 guards.
Well, they've played a lot with 2 bigs because Ice Brady has played well.
Yeah.
And it has given Coach Auriemma another option. KK Arnold going to come back in with those 4 fouls on the next dead ball.
Body sprawled out, and the possession will go to UConn.
You better tighten up on all the detail right now. There cannot be any game slippage. Your execution has to be really sharp. USC will continue to extend their pressure. They're going to fall back into their man.
Brady back to Beckers, left alone. Mule up there to get the rebound. And a foul going to be called on Watkins. Her 3rd.
That's a loose ball. That's a tough one right there. Nika Mule battling on the glass.
Well, Debbie, they were visibly fatigued at the end of the Sweet 16 game in the 4th quarter, and we talked to Nika yesterday. How do you combat that? And she just said pure adrenaline. Everything we have to play another day. Beckers on the inbound.
I can't tell you the number of times Lindsey Gottlieb went over that very set in shoot-around today. And defending Paige Bueckers in that situation, and she still is able to work without the ball to get in space.
That is her 7th straight 20-point game now for Bueckers. 3rd foul here on Edwards.
Watch Bueckers right here. She's going to come off this screen and get into space right here and knock down this shot. Watch her rub her defender right off of that screen by Ice Brady, and she gets that short 10-foot jumper. They ran that play against Duke the other night, and they scored a couple of times on it.
Watkins now 6 of 6 from the line. .23 for Juju. Under 5 to go. Pressure off the make. Both Arnold and Mule, number 2 and number 10 in blue, are playing with 4 fouls. Off the turnover, Watkins steps through, up and in. Right foot, wrong foot. It doesn't matter, Juju can score in any way. Good D by USC. More pressure to try and speed up UConn, try and wear them down on both ends. Brady, telegraph that one.
Juju is coming downhill at you, and you know that you got to try to stop the ball right here, and this is tough. She just steps around and is so good with her body control.
4 fouls on Mule. She had no chance there. Bueckers collects, spins, baseline, tough shot, gets it to go.
Now, I thought that was a foul. She was up under her.
Watkins for 3, in and out. Under 4, here in the 4th.
Remember the other thing that Coach Auriemma said, we cannot play from behind because of our depth. We don't have the ability to extend our D. But they can shorten the game here by running clock.
Bueckers for 3. Got it! What a shot. Making plays here in the 4th. Paige Bueckers with 26. Watkins tries the scoop, no. 2-possession lead for the Huskies, and Gino wants them to back it out, and they'll run a set here.
Now watch Coach Auriemma put players where he wants them. You got to jump to the ball. You got to keep UConn in front. You got to rebound here. USC does have a foul to give.
Bueckers steps away from the defender, no good. Under 3 to play.
Good timeout by Lindsey Gottlieb. Her team needs to execute something here. They need to get the ball where they want it.
Every possession counts now, but Bueckers putting on a show so far in the 4th for Connecticut.
Page with contact. That's a bucket, big one right there, and then back-to-back. Contested triple from the top of the floor.
Trying to engineer a win here in the 4th quarter, and for Gino in that huddle. 22 trips to the Final Four, 11 of those, half of them resulting in national championships. He's been down this road before. In the other huddle right now for Southern Cal, it has been 38 long years since they've played in a Final Four. Oh, so close, led by their freshmen. Trying to get back to the glory days of Cheryl Miller and Cynthia Cooper and the McGee twins. And trying to keep the final Pac-12 season alive at the Final Four. South Carolina will be there, so will NC State. They've got a date Friday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN. And the Iowa Hawkeyes and Caitlin Clark await the winner of this one.
Let's see if UConn, with their big lineup, comes out in their man in this possession. Juju Watkins is going to start on the strong side. Paige Beckers has done a nice job on her in the quarter court.
Watkins has it.
Well, they get the shot that they want. Her coming off a stagger on the weak side.
Rebound for Beckers. She's got a double-double. She and Mule and Edwards have played every single second tonight. Count it!
That's how you beat a press. You attack it. UConn does a great job of throwing over the top, and Mule finds Edwards on the backside. Davis late. Edwards with a bucket.
8 assists now for Nika Mule.
Got to be ready to rebound here if you're USC.
75% free throw shooter. Completes the three-point play. 22 now for Edwards. And it's a 9-point lead.
You just accelerate through your stuff right here. They're clearing it out for Juju.
Juju had it knocked loose. Forbes.
UConn really doing a good job of clogging the paint.
Uses the screen, finds some space. Mule comes out with it. Huskies have now scored 8 unanswered to open this thing up.
You got to stay aggressive right here for USC. Remember, you do have a foul to give, so you may want to throw a trap out or try to get a steal.
Final 2 minutes.
Now you don't want to foul now. You want to stay solid in your D.
Beckers off the bounce. Pulls up in the lane for 2.
And in a late clock, Beth, you let anybody but Paige Beckers catch it.
28 for Beckers. She's at her NCAA tournament average. Mule with a steal. Nika the other way and a foul. Huskies are taking over late.
Mule with those 4 fouls. Does a great job of anticipating. Here's Beckers in a late clock through the contact. Just too talented. Tell you what, Beth, for having a team with limited depth, Coach Auriemma has managed foul trouble. He's managed the depth, and they've stayed aggressive on the defensive end. Beckers has had a couple of steals. Mule on defense.
Outscoring Southern Cal here in the 4th quarter. Round and out, and Edwards comes out with it, and UConn's got it back to burn some more clock.
Yeah, you got it. You don't want to foul Beckers. But you got to stay aggressive here. You got 1 to give.
Beckers drives inside, blocked by Watkins. Juju with the swat. Oh, a reach-in foul on Edwards, as Juju lost a sneaker and may have taken a shot to the face. 4th on Edwards.
There's a block from behind by Juju Watkins, and you see she steps out of her shoe.
Gino's telling his players rebound and get a timeout. On a miss here. Forbes will look for 3 and hit it.
Timeout to advance the ball.
Three-possession game, under a minute to go.
This is a nice job by Forbes to relocate and to use the bounce to separate from Paige Beckers. Mackenzie Forbes knocking down the triple. That's her 5th of the game.
She and Juju have done their part, combining for 49 points.
So, Beth, because you have a foul to give, Actually, you have no more fouls to give. I'm sorry. There's 5 team fouls by Southern Cal. You want to be aggressive right here. Let the officials know you're trying to get a steal first. Then you're going to foul.
Let's take a look at tonight's Capital One rewarding performance. Yeah, what a job by Paige Beckers.
Beckers up the line on a couple of dead ball situations, was able to anticipate. I call that a little scouting report defense. And then her ability to off baseline out of bounds plays, knocking down big shots, wanting the ball in the tough moments of the game. Tough and clutch.
As it stands right now, basketball fans will go from watching Caitlin Clark play Angel Reese to watching Caitlin Clark play Paige Beckers for a spot in the national championship game.
Yeah, and don't forget the other side of the bracket. The #1 overall seed, South Carolina, taking on upstart NC State. All right, NC State, a surprise to be there, but certainly earned their way to this Final Four. Second trip in that school's history.
South Carolina advanced to the Final Four last year undefeated and lost in the semis. So they are back without a blemish to play Friday night against NC State.
They've had a couple of scares in the tournament. It hasn't
They've handled
been smooth,
it. Yeah, they've handled
but they have handled everything. And NC State will pose some incredible quickness and scoring in the backcourt.
The experience really showing for Connecticut here late in the game with Mule and Beckers and Edwards all with Final Four trips on their resumes.
Well, I'm going to say it again about Coach Auriemma, managing foul trouble and depth issues and staying aggressive on defense. And
Beckers fouls Watkins to stop the clock.
It's not a foul you want to commit.
That's her third. Watkins is 7 of 7 at the line. So you anticipate a couple makes here, and then they can throw the press on again.
Right.
Gino does have one more timeout.
Call timeout to advance the ball.
Yeah. The National Freshman of the Year from ESPN, and likely more of those accolades to follow.
Coach Auriemma may elect to use the length of the floor knowing the press is coming instead of advancing the ball with a timeout. That's what he's going to do.
Save that timeout for if they get in trouble and a foul committed.
KK Arnold's a 67% free throw shooter. That's not who UConn wants to have the ball in her hands in a late situation. Aren't they supposed to get the ball back to Paige in that situation? Didn't we ask Coach Auriemma about that yesterday?
Well, remember they struggled to do that at the end of the Duke game. So Arnold to the line, 68%. Her first trip.
Coach Auriemma looking at Paige going, hey, no more fouls. And Southern Cal does have 2 timeouts remaining. They can advance the ball here.
Missed them both. That's 5 in a row they've missed. Watkins dribbles it off her foot, stays in bounds. UConn really extending the pressure. Forbes will try for 3, leans into it, in and out. Mule rebounds and a foul.
What a tough-minded UConn second half, right? Has a lead, survives a punch. Southern Cal makes a run.
40 minutes tonight for Mule. 40 for Beckers, 40 for Edwards. And that is the 6th consecutive missed free throw. USC hadn't been able to hurt them at the other end. Wow, 7 in a row.
Coach Gottlieb going to use a timeout here to advance the ball.
They'll have one left. Oh, Gino was telling us yesterday he was hoping that SC might be in need of a timeout late in the game so he wouldn't have to burn one, and he's going to get his players an opportunity to catch their breath. Here's what's at stake for you. A 23rd trip to the Final Four for the Huskies, for USC, trying to get back there for the first time in 38 years.
UConn's 13 for 23 from the free throw line.
You go back to that meeting, the trio of Beckers, Mule, and Edwards with Gino after they lost their 5th player to injury back in early January. How will you choose to respond to the adversity and the heartbreak of losing teammate after teammate? 22-2 since that moment, and those upper-class leaders have been a huge difference here in the second half.
Well, you got to go for a quick 3 here. See if you can extend the game by fouling. Or you throw a direct pass into Marshall and let her score, but I think you want to get Juju on a screen here. There's a switch.
Watkins drops it off for Marshall, missed the layup. Second chance, up and in. And there is the final timeout for UConn.
The same strategy right here, Beth, right? I mean, UConn's going to inbound the basketball. What they've been doing is having Paige Beckers inbound it, and then they try to get it right back to her. She's their best free throw shooter. It's part of the reason why they have missed all those free throws is she's not been on the line. Now Southern Cal's going on a 7-0 run to cut it to 5.
Arnold, Edwards, and Mule are not the ones that want to foul for UConn. They are all still playing with 4 personals. And of course, Beckers is not the one that USC wants to foul.
Well, UConn doesn't want to foul. I mean, they want to get the ball in bounds and get it back to Paige and let her go to the free throw line. They know that Southern Cal is going to foul.
17.5 to go for the last spot in the Final Four.
You switch everything. You switch to steal.
Mule comes to receive and is fouled.
Well, it's a good job by Bigby not to let Paige Beckers catch it back. This will be interesting right here, right? Pressure free throws to go to the Final Four.
They've missed 7 in a row. Mule 0 for 3. This one for a 3-possession game. Timeout SC to advance. It's their last one. The winningest program in the history of the NCAA tournament with 11 national championships. Fighting through so much adversity this year. Surviving their worst start to a season in 37 years. Surviving losing 5 players to injury. And now trying to survive and advance.
It's a remarkable run. It's an incredible coaching job by Coach Oriem and his staff. It's a connected group. And they work hard at it. You know you got to bring 40 minutes of discipline and execution against any team Gino puts on the floor.
What a job that Gino and his staff have done to get them to this spot.
There's the 3 for
Watkins. They run her off the line. She'll take the 2. Pass picked off. Padilla looking for 3. Rebound Connecticut. Well, one official had a foul, I thought. Now the other one has a held ball, and it goes to UConn. UConn with the arrow. 3.9 to go. And a foul with 3.2 to play.
Well, USC is going to look at this and know they had their chances. Put some game pressure on UConn with the lead, but I thought Coach Auriemma's team managed the clock so well late into the game.
That's the 5th foul on Caitlin Davis. And look at the leadership of Paige Beckers.
Stop turning the ball over.
Well,
Get me the ball.
The Huskies can sense it now. And Leah Edwards will try and put the finishing touches on it. Things didn't look good in early December. 3 early season losses for the Huskies, who are proving that it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And UConn knocks out a #1 seed to head back to the Final Four. A fantastic freshman season comes to a close for Juju Watkins here in the Elite Eight. 29 points, 24 for Mackenzie Forbes, but it's UConn's night. Beckers with 28, 10 rebounds and 6 assists. Edwards with 24. And Nika Mule, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. They didn't step off the court, not one time. They all play the full 40. And what may have been the rockiest road of his career, Gino celebrates another trip back and a shot at a 12th national championship. And on an historic night around the women's basketball world, more to come next weekend in Cleveland with South Carolina, NC State, and UConn, Iowa. National semis on Friday night.
It's going to be great. We've got the overall #1 team in South Carolina. We've got Caitlin Clark in Iowa against Paige Beckers in UConn. And then there's this team called NC State who's just going to slide right into the Final Four. Nobody's going to be talking about them. And they got a great opportunity as well.
Paige Beckers is with Angel.
Paige, you had to watch from the sidelines last year. To be a part of this right now, advance to yet another Final Four in your career, can you just tell me what's going through your mind right now with this team?
There's so much gratitude. I'm a living testimony. I give all glory to God. He works in mysterious ways. Last year I was praying to be back at this stage, and he sent me trials and tribulations. But it was to build my character. It was to test my faith to see if I was only believer in the good times.
Let's go!
But I just kept on believing. I did all I could so God can do all I can't, and just so much joy and pride for this team. I'm so proud. We're not even supposed to be here, and here we are, a godly miracle. And I'm just so proud. I can't even put it in words.
That's what Coach told us earlier. He said it's going to take a miracle for us to win, especially with a depleted roster. But what is the message to everyone that is not an excuse with this group?
You can overcome anything with God on your side, with hard work on your side, and with the belief and the faith and just the perseverance, the resilience. It's all about how you overcome adversity in life and battle tested and just sticking together as one and not letting anything break us.
I saw just recently Coach Auriemma walking away with tears in his eyes to just understand what he's put into this group and how you guys can have that moment with him. What is that like?
He's our leader. He's instilled confidence within every single one of us. We got 60 to 70 points sitting on the bench in street clothes, and he's just kept the belief, kept us motivated, kept us hungry, and just kept us positive. And just to share this moment with him, it means everything.
Congrats. We'll see you in the Final Four.
Thank you. Yeah!
80-73 is your final. UConn knocks out USC, and so the Final Four is set Friday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Undefeated South Carolina against NC State, a team unranked in the preseason, amongst the last one standing. And then Caitlin Clark in Iowa taking on Paige Beckers in UConn in the nightcap. For our entire crew, I'm Beth Mowens, Debbie Antonelli, Angel Gray. Thanks so much for being with us on the road to the Final Four in Cleveland. Coming up next, it's SportsCenter with SVP.